to the sidelines. Has a man wide open. It's tipped. It's picked off. MJ Devonshire's got space. He's going to take it to the end zone. Pittsburgh takes the lead.
He loves those moments. It reminds me of last year in the Garden against St. John's. And guys just stepped up. Blake hits a what the hell 3. You know, we're like, what are you doing? And he's done that all year.
Klicka out to Bizzario. It's over. The Pitt Panthers have upset Wisconsin. Anybody if he hits his field goal. Up and got it. Sauls does it again.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Simplify Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Kent Vanderwood and Mason Kling. So first up, Mason, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well. Ready to talk all the Pitt sports, including some volleyball tonight. Looking forward to a good show.
Kent, first off, happy birthday. Everyone, please reply happy birthday, Kent, in the comments, in the replies to the tweet.
Birthday pod.
Appreciate
How are we doing
it.
tonight?
Good. Yeah. No place I'd rather be. But good. Excited to talk some volleyball, some basketball, and some football, as always. So,
And of course, we're talking volleyball, so we had to bring on special guest, friend of the show, returning guest, Kayla Lund, all everything, former Pitt player. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm really honored to be here on a birthday pod.
Honestly, what better way to celebrate your birthday than talk about winning Pitt sports?
I agree.
So first up, quick recap of the Pittsburgh Regional. That's over. Pitt is now in the Final Four. 3 straight Final Fours, by the way. On the all-Pittsburgh team, Pitt had 4, I guess not nominees, but 4 players named to the team. That would be Olivia Babcock, who is the MVP, Rachel Fairbanks, Tori Stafford, and Emma Monks, who is now Kayla's teammate on the Columbus Fury and set the single-season block record for Pittsburgh. So First out, shout out now, professional Emma Monks. Are you excited to get to work with her?
Yes, I am. And so it's also still kind of up in the air if she will decide to play in the league. So basically how everybody that got drafted, how it's now working is if they got drafted and they decide to play in our league or professionally, they have to come onto our team, I believe. However, they still can make the decision to go overseas to play pro or do other things. Emma is a very smart cookie and has a very good school and nursing program set up. So last that I've heard, I know she's like still kind of deciding. I think she's going to make it through the rest of the tournament and then make a decision. Obviously, I would love to play with her, and I hope that she comes over to Columbus, but she is a way smarter human being than I am, and so she might be putting school and like life first. So we will see, but I do hope that if she continues to play, she comes on over to Columbus.
So basically, if she were to continue school and then decide to play in the U.S. because they can't enforce that rule overseas, she would then have to play for the Fury would own the rights to her signing, right?
Pretty much. And I think it's only for this season as well. So she's going to have to make a decision coming up, like in the next couple weeks, because we start in January. So we'll find out here pretty soon with her.
Okay, cool. And also shout out to Chia, who also got drafted 6th overall by the Atlanta. Are they the Dream?
They're the Vibe. They are Atlanta Vibe. Yeah, the names in this league are cracking me up. But I'm so stoked for her. I'm so excited for her. She's definitely somebody like a player that just doesn't get all the recognition that she deserves. And so the fact that she went first round, I think is super sick. So I'm excited for her.
Yeah. So let's talk about the games next. Also, a quick shout out to the YouTube channel GATA420, who seemingly just uploads every single full match from every volleyball game that's on ESPN. they're doing the Lord's work here. But first up was the win against Wazoo. 3-0 sweep, dominating on all fronts. I don't have too much to say about this game because Pitt was so good in it. Pitt hit 425, which is their program best in tournament history, and they held Wazoo to 121, which is not where you want to be at. But basically the entire team went nuclear. I think the big thing to talk about is the Elite Eight in a packed Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Another 3-2 reverse sweep of Louisville, the second time in 2 matches, making it, like I said before, 3 straight Final Fours for the program. Overall, I mean, they shut Anna DeBeer down. She only hit 135 in the match. The serving was excellent, and just sort of, and these stats were given by friend of the show, Dom Campbell. The Panthers had 11 service aces to 11 service errors, while the Cardinals had 5 service aces to 16 service errors, which is a season high for them. So, Kayla, like 1,000 feet in the sky, what's your takeaway from the Elite Eight win?
It was such a cool match to be at. The environment of Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's like, as a city, as volleyball supporters are like slowly but surely like really starting to love volleyball. And like I've talked about it with you before, but just like the growth that I've seen from when like I was a freshman and it was just like family coming to the game. It was literally like 10 people. And now we have like a packed out arena is so freaking cool. And so like the energy in the gym, the way that it shifted after those first 2 sets, because I'm not going to lie, like it was a little quiet in there. It was packed, but like it wasn't bumping, And then they came out and set 3 was close. Like it was back and forth. And then they just like turned into the team that a lot of us like know and love, which is just like such a dominant team. And this team plays so like they play their best when they start blocking really well. And so they got a couple blocks finally, like in that 3rd set, and then they just took off. And then if you have like Olivia Babcock going off, you have Tori Stafford going off. Our middles did really well. Like Valeria's always steady. She's just always good. Like they're just a ridiculous team to play. And then once you got the environment into it too, and then the crowd got into it, it was sick. So the match, I think, like just such a high quality level match, and that's how it always is with Louisville because you have like literally some of the best athletes in the country going head to head. And so from a volleyball standpoint, like really good volleyball, really bad volleyball on both point, like because both were forcing each other to do so. So it was a sick game. I'm obviously really happy that Pitt came out with the win and that they get to keep going on. And the rivalry with Louisville continues on. There's like just so much meaning behind every single time that they play. Especially last year, they knocked Pitt out of the tournament in the Final Four. And so for now, Pitt to get to do that in 5 again, to get into the Final Four was a lot of fun.
You talk about it being like a rivalry, and it definitely is a budding one, if not like, I don't know, maybe one of the best in college volleyball. As a player, like what's in your head when you are down 2 sets against one of your biggest rivals, someone that kind of bumped you from the tournament before? Like, how do you, because you're fighting an uphill battle, how do you go about the mentality of coming back and winning that match?
Basically, I think it just has to be like anytime you're down 0-2, you're kind of now at the point where you're like, well, now I have nothing to lose. So I think that has to be the mindset because it's like, all right, now whether you were supposed to win that match or not, now you're the underdog in that moment. Mm-hmm. You've now become that underdog. Now you're playing with nothing to lose, kind of that chip on your shoulder, even if maybe it's like in the game you're going up ranked higher, whatever the case may be. Like, it doesn't matter anymore what you guys are ranked, who is the best in the country, what players you have on your side. Like now you guys are down. And so I think just kind of trying to have that mindset shift of we're the underdogs, and we have nothing to lose, but also at the same time, like finding that balance of like, hey, we can actually do this and we are the best in the country and we can pull this off. Kind of, it's like a weird balance of, you don't want to have cockiness because that won't ever get you too far. That's maybe why you're even down 0-2 sometimes. But just somehow balancing like, hey, I can do this. If you got to tell yourself I'm the best in this gym, I got to start playing like it, then you got to do that. And then but you also got to have that, like, but we got to work for this, and we got to figure it out, and we got to figure it out fast because it's now or never. So it's a weird, like, conflicting mindset that you have to be in, that you got to sometimes force yourself to be in. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it to be in it. But that like actually some of the girls said that during set 2, and we've done this the whole time while I was at Pitt, and I know some of them continue it on, but before, if we're down 0-2 or we're going into a 5th set, like, we'll just get into a huddle and literally, like, scream as loud as we can. And I know some of the girls did that. They, like, ran off the court and just screamed, because sometimes you don't even know what to feel. And there's all the emotions, and, you know, people are watching you on ESPN, and there's like 5,000 people in here watching, and the whole thing. So sometimes you just, like, literally have to let out whatever the heck just happened. And honestly, it's something weird, but it does make a big difference. And I know the girls did that after the 2 sets. A couple of them went in and screamed a little bit and came out a lot better. So little things.
Before we talk about the game or the match in detail, quick thing on the crowd. This is one thing I noticed when I was watching the replay, is the camera angle. Like, the matches of the Pete were very cool, but the camera angle at the Fitz is, I think, the better of the two, because every time Pitt scores, you can see the crowd's arms just pop up, and it adds to, like, feeling like the roar of the crowd on the TV. One thing I hope that they kind of plan for when they build that new arena is getting that low camera angle so that you can see the fans react to it. But going into the match itself, like you said, it was a very, very close match for basically 2.5 sets. It was close in the first 2. Louisville just kind of barely outplayed Pitt, and then about halfway through the 3rd set, Pitt's offense just seemed to wake up along with their block, and that's where they just started basically being untouchable. One quick question that I noticed on rewatching it: how hard is it to do the thing that Rachel Fairbanks did, where she fakes doing a set and then kind of lays it in over the other side of the net? Like, is that like a Patrick Mahomes no-look pass sort of deal?
Yeah, she makes it look very easy, but only the best setters in the country and in the world are doing that. Like, that isn't a very elite, like, high-level setter play. And those are the little things that Rachel does that she does them a lot, but sometimes as a setter, like, the cool things that setters do kind of go unnoticed. And so, because you're always focusing on, like, the big hits or the big blocks, Rachel does so many crazy things like that. She'll have, and these sound like little things, but they're really hard to do. Like, she'll set with her chest to the net. She'll be able to set with her back to the net, and she'll do one-handed sets. And I know those all sound like, if you don't know volleyball terminology, they just sound like whatever, but they're really hard to do. It's basically like trying to shoot, like, a 3-point shot, like, facing away from the rim. So that's the closest thing that I can put it to. It's like it's literally like a no-look basketball shot, or like a Patrick Mahomes no-look, like. So, and she makes it look so easy. Like, she's so good, and it's been cool to watch her grow, come in. Like, when she came in, we knew, like, okay, she's going to be the real deal. And she just has to have, like, that growth, as everybody does when they come to college. And she just, like, that growth came so fast, like, as a player. And now she truly is our quarterback on the court. And she does really cool things like that are a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Obviously, next set, one of the big things I took away was basically Olivia Babcock's top spin high jump serve. That started to work there, and every time I watch it, I come away, like, confused, because to me it looks like a gyro ball or a knuckleball, because she throws the ball higher than anyone else I've seen. She hits it harder than anyone I've seen, and it seems like nobody on the other side of the court like, knows where it's going to go. So is that, like, so first, is the directional change, like, a product of how she serves it? And 2, it seems like not a lot of people are doing this. Are more players going to start doing this, like, crazy high spin serve?
So yes, it is. It is a product of, like, how she hits it. Um, and actually, we make a lot of fun of her. Make fun of her for when she misses. She typically misses because it's hitting her hand weirdly. So that's kind of we call that kind of serve. It's a topspin serve. That's what we call it, topspin jump serve. And it's a very high risk, high reward serve. And so in the first 2 sets, I think she missed every single one. But she kind of has a green light as a server from coaches, because then when it is in, it's really freaking good. And so typically she gets a green light from Fish to just like, even if we're down 0-2, like Fish never tells her like, hey, just get this one in. She doesn't have that option. She just gets to go back there and rip it, which is sick. But basically, the topspin jump serve, because it's high risk, high reward, you don't see it as often. And you have to also be able to hit the crap out of it, or else it turns into a really easy serve. So you see it a lot. It's almost everybody does it in the men's game. There's maybe one person. It's pretty much reversed in the men's game. So everybody top spins, and maybe there's like 1 or 2 players that float serve like we do. And then for girls, you see almost everybody float serve and maybe 1 or 2 top spinners, because guys, they can hit the crap out of the ball. And so, so we're starting to see it develop into the women's game a little bit more, with players that are just athletic freaks like Olivia, who can just jump really high and they're from a really high advantage point and they can hit it hard. And so you're starting to see it grow a little bit more, but it is that high risk, high reward. And if you don't hit it hard enough, it's an easy dime. You could miss it a lot, but then when it works really well. And it does turn into like, it has that crazy top spin. So it has a crazy tail on it, but it also can turn into like it could get a weird spin and kind of knuckle and spin. It's when she gets a piece of it, like you hear the whole crowd, or you just see the passers not be able to do anything about it. So it's, it's really crazy to watch. And when it's good, it's really good.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed is when she got it working, like whenever a Louisville player tried to set the ball, it would just bounce off in an angle that they didn't want it to take. It was like hitting the side of their arm. And
yeah,
obviously that's the reward with the high risk guy. There's going to go out of bounds on the serve because you're hitting it so hard, and it has that crazy tail, or it's going to go out of bounds because the opposing player cannot defend it.
In the Wazoo game, it literally, one of the girls tried to dodge out of the way, and it ended up beaming her. And she literally tried to dive out of the way, and it beamed her, almost domed her. It was, the whole crowd was like, ooh, that was a really good one. That was as a volleyball player, that does happen. But if that ever like happens, everybody knows that that's like a really embarrassing thing to happen.
With that type of serve, and I guess serving in general, how much does like momentum play into that, right? Like I feel like I'm like comparing it to like in baseball when you have like your hot streaks of like hitting and you're on. Like, does the getting good serves one after another, like, does that play a factor?
100%. It does for serving, also hitting. I honestly, for everything with volleyball, because there's so many different like skills that you have to do. And so if I'm having we call it same as baseball, like a hot hand, or a hot hitter, same thing. So, and our setters know like, okay, if so-and-so's hot, we're going to go back to her a decent amount tonight. Like there are just some games like as athletes where sometimes you don't even know how you're playing so well. Sometimes it's just like, oh my gosh, everything is like, I have perfect vision. Everything's just working for me right now. Setters recognize that. And so same thing with the serve. Maybe you're getting a couple extra aces, you're getting them off the net, and you just go back there with just like a little bit more confidence every single time. So yeah, 100%.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, talking about a hot hand serving, we can move on to set 5 with Kat Flood, the serving specialist, getting Pitt off to a 7-1 start in that set. Closer Kat, they couldn't handle the flood. They didn't bring their rain jackets. My question is, when you go in as a serving specialist, and this is something that genuine question, don't know anything about it, are you told to like serve to a spot or a player, or is it like something about your serve that makes it harder to play? Like we talked about Olivia's before, but when we're sending in Cat Flood, like what are her what is Fish telling her to do when she's going in?
So in general, we have a serving plan every single rotation. So for the entire game. So for its one team, it could be we're serving the same person the entire game, or we're serving the same zone the entire game. And so it can change, but pretty much every time that you go back to serve, we'll look over to one of the assistants and they call which zone to serve every single time. And typically we know where to go to, but in case anything changes or it's just like also part of your routine, you just kind of look over just to make sure. So she comes in knowing like who she's going to serve, where she's going to serve every single time. And so depending on who we're playing, it could be one person. It could be their weakest passer. It could be their front row outside hitter. A lot of times, like coaches like to have a game plan to go against whoever's front row and hitting, because then you have to worry about passing and hitting. A lot of times for Pitt, we like to serve a certain zone because sometimes a pass coming from that particular zone is harder for the setter to set. Even if it's a good pass, it's harder for a setter to take a ball over their shoulder than it is coming forward at them. So yeah, when she goes back there, she already knows who she's serving at, where she's going. The only person that's probably different for is Olivia's serve. They can tell her like, hey, we would love if you could get it into this zone. But again, like we just in and hard is good for Liv. But for Kat, I mean, she has such a good serve. Obviously, she went on a 7-1 run to start the fifth. Like her serve is so sick, and at any time she's so clutch with it too. Like any time that like we've needed to get some momentum going, she just goes back there and like truly does her job, which is really hard to do, just to come in off the bench and just come in there and like take over a match. So yeah, her serve is sick. I also didn't know. Did you make the graphic that went viral last year?
Yes. So
I didn't know that you made that.
So funny story. The graphic in question is the Cat Flood laser eyes photo. That was made by me on my phone, I believe at work actually. Yeah, because I think the Elite Eight against Wisconsin was at a weird time where I was at work, but I just sort of made it on my phone. It's like I made it in like 5 minutes. All of a sudden it blows up, and then this season coming around, I have seen it in so many places. The official Pitt Athletics posted a screenshot of it where they blurred out the background, and now I know that nobody knows where it came from because I didn't put the logo on it. I wasn't going to be that guy. But yeah, it is so funny to me that has completely outlived the context of her coming into the Wisconsin game and clutching it out. It's just now a general photo that pops up every time Pitt plays volleyball.
Yeah. It's so good. I was overseas in my season when they played Wisconsin, whatever, all last year, obviously. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. And I didn't realize that you made it until this year because it's blowing up again. And yeah, obviously Pitt Athletics posted it, which cracked me up. And then Kat screenshotted that Pitt Athletics posted it, and she put it on her story, and she was like, oh my gosh. Like, because it was so funny that Pitt Athletics even posted it. Like, so good. I need to tell Kat actually that you made it so that she knows where it came from too.
Thank you. I got sent it. And I didn't see it until much later, and I was like, "There's no way."
Yeah.
I made this in 5 minutes, and they they didn't even change it at all. I'm honored.
The people love it, and the fans love Kat too, so it's perfect.
Yeah. Come on the show.
You got to watermark your next one.
I really should. I should be watermarking all the insane AI creations I've been cooking. There's a good one coming out tomorrow. Be ready for it.
Oh, good. I'm excited.
Okay. One last thing on the final set, right? We mentioned earlier about the Babcock serve that hit the Wazoo player in the face. This set ends with Emma Monks beaming someone in Louisville in the face for the win, which is, again, embarrassing, but very honestly, that's a rivalry mixtape moment. You put that in the highlight video next time you play them. Now, first up, we all know Monks is like a blocking specialist, or like not a specialist, but excels at the block. And it seems like during this tournament run, she has been more openly used as an offensive threat. Obviously, she doesn't have like, I think that like, and this is not me insulting her, but like Valeria and Babcock and Stafford maybe are more powerful hitters, but she has been used more as a weapon in that sense. And then I guess talk about that first, and I'll move to my final point.
Yeah. So yeah, you're exactly correct. She's not always used as an option in our offense because our pin hitters are so strong offensively. But and I think she had a little bit of a slower start in the tournament. And so I think it was cool against Louisville that then, yeah, her offense started heating up. And so, and I know offensively, that's something that she really wants to be better at. And so it was cool, like in the practices leading up all through the tournament, like she's definitely been focusing on her offense a little bit more and really wanting to get that connection down. So, because tournament play is big for her as a transfer in, like she's never made it this far into the tournament before. She hasn't had to deal with the crowds and the pressure of it before. And so I think maybe that took a little bit of a toll on her in the beginning. So it was really cool that, yeah, in this Louisville match, she kind of had a little bit of a breakout there, kind of getting back to like the normal offense that we've seen her be able to play in the past. But I mean, her block, like, when you have a player that blocks that well, literally like leading the nation in blocks, like what else do you say? It's like, all right, if she had more blocks, I think, than she did kills, which is really hard to do. That's really hard to do. So she's just a double threat. And so, yeah, when her offense is on and she's blocking, I mean, she's ridiculous. So, her block is sick. And also when she's able to get like one-on-ones in the middle or get some touches on the outside, it gets everybody else's block. I don't know why, like the mentality behind it. This happens a lot in volleyball, but like the second one person gets a block, I swear everybody else, like it starts happening for everybody. So she's kind of that person that if she gets one, then I just know like a couple more are going to come soon.
Yeah. And then final thing on the Louisville match, so obviously this is the second reverse sweep of the season. It seems like the momentum in this newborn rivalry is sort of in Pitt's favor now. Now with the double reverse sweep, do you think that, like, because for a while on the last show you're on, we mentioned that I think 5 of the last 7 Louisville had won. Now do you think the monkey is off the back for Pitt and basically taking out the one team that had been their nemesis for the better part of 2 years?
Yeah, 100%. I do. And this, I think, will forever stay a rivalry as long as both teams stay this competitive in NCAA and ACC play. But I think the pressure of playing Louisville has maybe changed a little bit because we had lost to them a decent amount before. Yeah, I think we looked back into it because I think my senior season, we lost both of them, once at their house, and then I was hurt when they came to us and we lost that one. And then, yeah, I think they only had one or two cents, whatever. Anyways, yeah. And there's just, especially losing to them in the tournament, at the end of last year means a lot too. Like just to have your season ended by your ACC, your conference rival, just like it stings that much more. And so now I think being able to do the same thing to them, I think kind of almost evens it back out a little bit. And the wins have been so meaningful that when we've beaten them, it's been very meaningful this year. And so, yeah, I think that kind of pressure of playing them is a little bit like less in that sense of like the outside noise and of it. But that rivalry, I think, and I hope will just like always stay, because if we're both playing well, the rivalry will always be there. And so I hope that happens.
Yeah. So let's look forward to the Final Four, right?
Yes.
The 4 teams in are Pitt versus Nebraska and Texas, Stanford, I believe, the other side, right?
So Texas upset Stanford in the Elite Eight, and now it's Texas, Wisconsin, whiskey. Yeah.
Whiskey. So let's talk about Nebraska. No focus on what's in front of us, right?
Yeah.
And Nebraska is as veritable a blue blood in the sport as you could see. It is the blue blood versus the new kid on the block. Extremely tall team, Big Ten team. Big Ten teams tend to get a lot of the votes in the coaches poll, the one that produces the top 25. And some of their notable players are Merritt Beeson, who played for the U.S. team under Dan Fisher, Harper Murray, Burgh and Riley, their libero Lexi Rodriguez, and their middle block, Becca Alec and Andy Jackson. So these 6 players, from your point of view, former player, part-time analyst and commentator, maybe full-time, don't know yet. What are their strengths, and how do they match up well with Pittsburgh besides being really tall?
Yeah. I'm so intrigued by this matchup because Nebraska's good. They're the number 1 team in the country. They were for most of the year. They were at 1 or 2. And they're just a program that historically is one of the best. They're well coached. The thing this year that I think is really interesting, I think Nebraska has 4 freshmen playing right now, which typically you look at our team with 4 freshmen with 2 freshmen and 2 of our best players being freshmen. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy that these 2 freshmen have had such a big impact on leading this team so far. But I'm pretty sure they have 4. I know their setter is, and I know one of their outside hitters is, and one of their middles. And I think there's one more in there. Maybe she comes in, maybe she's there. I'm not 100% positive. So in that sense, even though Nebraska has the history of like making it this far for like 20 years, whatever, it's a lot of young players going up against each other. And so the one big difference too that I think they're used to playing in front of huge crowds. They sell out their arena of like 15K, 10K. I don't know how much it holds, but it holds a lot. In like almost every single game. So when they make it to the Final Four and they're playing in front of 15 to 20K, like it doesn't impact them. Whereas when we, like my first year when we made it to the Final Four and we're playing in front of 15K, 20K for the first time, it was like, whoa, we feel that difference going from our like 5K sellout crowd to, and at that point we were probably getting like 3K to all of a sudden playing in front of 20,000. So they're both teams' defenses are like 2 of the best in the country. Their back row defense is elite. They have one of the best liberos in the country. Our block is elite. Like if you were to go player for player, it's really freaking good. It's really good. Like the matchup is it's like talent for talent. It's like I would obviously choose my pick girls every single day, and I do think that when you look player for player, I do think that our girls are better. So it's going to be one of those games where it comes down to like both are just, which is how the NCAA tournament should be. Like both teams are so freaking good. It's just going to be like who plays their best or their like normal good that day, because both the teams good is the best in the country. And so if you can just play to like their normal standard, which is really freaking good, then like I think that team will take the cake for the day.
Yeah, you mentioned the 4 freshmen. Three of those names that I listed earlier are freshmen. You mentioned the crowds. Nebraska famously played in front of an 80,000 person crowd in their home football stadium this year, which was awesome. We should do that at Heinz Field.
Right.
And in terms of overall record, Nebraska was 32-1 this year, only losing in the very last week of the season to Wisconsin, who is on the other side of the bracket. In terms of the Pitt players, in terms of the Pitt players who are going to be playing, right? Who's going to be playing? I'm going to cut that.
Scratch.
Scratch it, yeah. In terms of the girls on Pitt's sideline for this match, you have Valeria, Chia, and Rachel all in their 3rd Final Four. Now, you mentioned that Nebraska has 4 standout freshmen. We have 2 of our starting 6. You know, Monks has not been this deep yet. 2 are freshmen, and then you have 3 truly veteran players. You have Cat Flood coming off the bench. how important is having that like mentality and history with these deep tournament runs when you're at this point?
It's huge. It's huge because the girls that haven't been to this place yet, it's easy for them to kind of jump in line and follow the girls that are confident going in, that are used to that noise, that are used to like looking up and seeing the bright lights in your face. The arena's different. The feeling around it is different. You can't find the ball as well because the lights are so bright and the ceiling's 10 times higher than you're used to. So all those like little things of like just outside factors do play a difference. But once you have like your leaders and your veterans kind of literally leading the way, then it's easy for those girls to just follow behind them, kind of jump in line and be like, all right, if they're feeling good, like I'm going to feel good too. Because if my captain's feeling good, if my captain's coming out strong, like then I can play freely as well because I see that she can do it. I can do it. So yeah, to have Chiamaka out there, Valeri out there, Emmy out there, Rachel, they've all been in 3 Final Fours, which is really like crazy. They're the only players in the whole entire NCAA tournament that can say that this year, that they've played in 3 Final Fours in a row. So that's huge. That's huge. And the confidence that gives them is huge. It just makes you more comfortable out there. And then it makes you just play a lot more freely. And so if freshmen come out weird, or if anybody comes out weird, they can lean on each other, and especially lean on the girls that have been in this situation before.
Now, is that like when you're talking about some of those more veteran players kind of, taking some of these younger girls under their wing, is that more of just like a lead by example thing for Pitt here? Or is it something, you kind of talk about before the match? Like, what's the style of this team when it comes to that kind of atmosphere?
So like our leadership is, we consider everybody can be a leader in their own way. Of course, we have like designated captains, but Fish always comes like whenever there's every start of the year, he's like, I don't care if you're a freshman. I don't care if you're a 6-year senior, like you guys are all leaders and you find a way to be a leader. So for some girls, they lead by example, and they're coming in the gym the earliest, they're leaving the latest. They're just coming in, they're showing up every single day. For like, without a doubt, just they're doing that every single day, but maybe they're not as loud vocally. Then you have the other girls that are vocal and they're going to get on each other, and which we love at Pitt also. Fish tries to coach us similarly, like emotionally, to a men's team, because with guys, you guys can probably relate to this. Like with guys, like if you guys have beef with each other, especially in sports, like you just go at it and then you're cool. Like you guys get it all out there, and maybe a guy punches up. We're not hitting each other, but like maybe the guys will like get into a physical fight. And then after you like fist bump and you're like, all right, love you, bro. So whereas girls, we tend to like bundle and take a lot of things in, and we don't like confronting each other. And so in the sports world, that's like the worst thing ever, because then you have 20 girls who are all holding in little tiny things that piss them off that day. And then it just like builds and builds and builds. And then eventually you're going to explode at each other. And that's exactly what we don't want. So we call them small conflicts. So basically how that goes back to leadership is, as girls on the team, a lot of us like to have small conflicts. And so our team has no problem calling each other out on each other's BS, calling each other out when they're not giving effort, calling each other out. And so, but then we have girls that are just better at it than others are. And so you have that kind of leader that's always going to be like, you need to get that ball up. Like, and you can, like, I know you can get it up right now type of thing. And then, yeah, you have the lead by example. But by now, this far into the season, everybody kind of is a little bit of all of that, because everybody's now picking up on all the leadership styles. Towards the beginning of the year, you typically have the new girls and the freshmen freaking out by how we hold each other accountable and being like, oh my gosh. And then by the end of the freshman year, it's so fun to then watch like the freshmen get mad at you as like the 5th year senior. And you're kind of finally like, yeah, like yell at me, get mad. Like I shouldn't be letting that, you're right. Like get on me. I want that. So it's fun by the end of the year just to watch everybody like very respectfully get on each other. And because at the end of the day, we all know that we're like getting on each other because one, we believe that the other person can do better and we know that they can, and we all want to win. So yeah, so that was kind of a tangent about our leadership, but and then we also have leaders that are like super joyful. And even if we're down in the dumps and even if we're down 0-2, they're the ones that are going to be like, let's go. Like everybody smile, fake a cheer louder than you have to. Like, so there's just so many different aspects because it's such a team sport that like of leaders that we have that all definitely come to play in the tournament. And I think for each given game, it's kind of figuring out, and that's when captains can step up and figure out like, okay, what kind of leadership does our team actually need right now from each other?
That's awesome. That's really cool. I feel like that's not just like, that's just winning mentality. Like, I'm sure there are plenty. I mean, you made the comparison between men's and women's sports. I'm sure there are plenty men's teams out there that don't have the ability to have those small conflict. There are still plenty of teams that I'm sure are like pretty petty with that stuff. So I think that's just a difference between winning and losing mentality. But that's a really, really cool to hear.
Yeah, you're right. I always loved, when Fish, like when I first got to Pitt and he coached us like that, Kamalani, who's now on the coaching staff, was like our leader and captain. And she didn't mess around. She still doesn't mess around, but like you learn a lot from a player like that comes in and works their butt off and doesn't mess around. And so, I like the way that you put that about winning mentality, because that's absolutely like what our goal always is and what our mental state is always like focused on.
All right. Any other questions from our students of the game?
No, I'm just going to say, I mean, after going down 0-2 in the Elite Eight and just having those leaders step up, and push the team over the hump there, and really just push the team to the Final Four, that gives you as a team, a huge confidence boost, going in, knowing that even if things do start to go south in that Final Four matchup, that you have the ability to bounce back. So, it's good to face adversity, along the way before you get to the Final Four as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Even like comparing that game to the Washington State game, like a win against Washington State in that style is great. Like you feel good about it afterwards, but a win against Louisville in that style means so much more and you feel so much better about it. And just like exactly like you said, that, hey, no matter what happens in this match, we can still find a way to win. And that's like way more valuable than a quick sweep. So even though as a fan, I prefer the quick sweeps now. But as a player, those 5-setters mean a lot.
I think the final question I have, looking forward to this game. When we talk college football, we love our picks of who's going to win this game. So I think it would only be right if we could have your official pick and maybe how many sets we're going to get out of this game coming up.
Well, I'm definitely going Pitt. I'm going Pitt all the way. I'm going Pitt to win this all. They have the talent this year. This is like the first year. Even when I made the Final Four, it still didn't. Of course, we believed, we were like, we're going to win the Natty. Like you always say, that is always your goal. But I feel like for the first time this year is where it doesn't feel like, oh, we can do it. We can do it. It's like, oh, like we can do it, So I'm doing Pitt all the way. For sets, I think it's got to be like a 4 or 5 setter. I would be
That's
shocked.
almost inevitable at this point in the tournament, right?
I would be shocked if it happened in 3. If it happens in 3, one of the teams just has to come, like they're just not playing well and they just don't play well the entire way through. Like I don't even think it would be the other team playing out of their minds. It would literally just be the one team like in shell shock and can't do anything. Realistically, I do see it happening in 5. But I see kind of how it went with Louisville, like Pitt having a really strong 5th set and maybe it being like 15-10, 15-8 or 9, like around there, like a solid 5-set win.
I love it.
And then pick for the other side of the bracket. We talked about a little bit earlier, Texas, Wisconsin.
So I I was actually a bit surprised that Texas upset Stanford because Stanford has had a really solid year and they have Kendall Kipp on the right side they have a lot of pieces that are really good. But Texas is actually playing so well right now that when I was watching them play, I was like, ooh, like Asia O'Neal, who's going off and just got drafted and will come and play with me in Columbus. And then they're outside Madison. They're playing like out of their minds, and they've both won national championships before. So like they know how to win and they know how to play in the tournament. So before I would have said that it would be like Sanford and Whiskey up, but I think I'm going to go Wisconsin. I do. They have a lot of players. And the only reason I'm hesitant is because Texas is literally playing out of their minds right now, and they're just so strong right now. But I think I'm going to go Wisconsin, even though I'm very hesitant, and I could see that going the other way. And then Pitt versus Wisconsin, I'm going Pitt, and rematch, which is crazy from last year. So Wisconsin's going to have a big chip on their shoulder against Pitt, which is scary, but I think Pitt. And I feel like the championship might be in 4. I don't know why I feel that way, but I'm leading that way.
All right. Hopefully she can add psychic to her resume as well. I mean, I'm picking Pitt. I'm going to flip a coin. I'm probably going to just take Texas because I think it's hard to pick against the defending national champion.
It's true.
And then Pitt over Texas.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm going the same way with Texas playing well right now. Reigning champs, want to get back, but Pitt's taking the crown. I love it.
All right, well, we're gonna have a split graphic because I'm going with Kayla, and we're going Pitt, Wisconsin, Pitt over them.
Let's go. I hope that we're all right because all of us chose Pitt winning.
Exactly.
So as long as that part's right, we're good.
Exactly. And to watch the games, they're airing on this Thursday. Pitt's playing at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Wisconsin, Texas play 30 minutes after the finish of that match. It's scheduled for 9:30. Probably will be later. And then the championship is 3 p.m. this Sunday on ABC.
First time ever. Yeah, first time ever on ABC, which I think it's normally just on ESPN or something. But yeah, first time ever it'll be on ABC, which is sick.
I mean, that's awesome. It's hashtag grow the game. And once again, Kayla, thanks for coming on. Always love having you on. As always, open invite to come back.
Love it.
We always learn a lot.
It's an awesome birthday present having you on. So.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thanks a bunch, Kayla.
Guys. Yeah, thank you guys. Love chatting with you, and hail to Pitt.
Hail to Pitt, baby.
Did you guys see the picture of Nick Saban in like his Ferrari on like some recruiting visit where he had a quadruple?
Boy got the walk. He got the walk.
Nick Saban didn't have the mud. He had a landslide in that cup. And then in the car door, he had like 3 bags of chew.
I think it was like the Redmond's like pouch tobacco.
Yeah, big old bag. Yeah. Dude, all right. Bama's winning it all next year. Not this year. I don't like Bama. Anyway, welcome back to the show. Just 3 of us Nimrods.
Yeah.
Back to the Bozo show.
Back to a bunch of idiots who don't know anything about ball. Just kidding. We're all ball knowers.
It's funny. I'm taking off my formal Kayla Lund interview hat and putting on my dumb football brain / basketball brain hat.
Yeah.
I'm putting on that hat, and it's like the one that old Italian guys wear. There's a name for it, but I'm just wearing that hat because it's funny. We're talking hoops first. We're talking football.
I feel like the more exciting news is football. Let's break that up.
Yeah, we can just start with the football news and then just talk basketball.
Because basketball's in a bye week right now. So,
and basketball was like we had one obviously exciting game. The other one was like we can talk about briefly, but it's like holy shit, are we gonna lose? And then we didn't. Didn't cover the spread. That's what I care about.
So let's get into it. Pitt hires former Western Carolina offensive coordinator Kade Bell to replace the great Satan Frank Signetti.
What didn't seem like it was really on anybody's radar until it was almost a done deal.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of different candidates on our last episode, and his name simply did not come up. So naturally, we talked about a bunch of guys, and naturally, none of them actually ended up with the job.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if I'm going through my original list, I was told basically, I think the reporting was that the final three candidates were actually former offensive coordinator at Penn State, Mike Yursich, who I clowned on that hire. And then the other two were Bell, who got the job, and Mac Leftwich, who is the OC at Texas State, who I guess played at North Allegheny. The guys we thought we were going to get the job, Steve McClendon and Brandon Streeter, the Georgia assistant coaches, not even finalists. So, of course, I was totally wrong, and I'm kind of happy to be wrong because I think that Kade Bell brings an exciting offense to Pittsburgh.
I was gonna say, you know what it is. It's not
Yursich.
Guy from Syracuse that we were talking about as well.
Oh, Dino.
Yeah, it's not Dino. It's not Dino Babers, and it's an exciting hire. It's something that has a lot of upside, and it's a pass first kind of offense, is what it seems like, or at least a existing passing game, which we haven't seen for quite a while. So. Really excited to bring this in the fold here.
I would say that pass first is the correct read on it. I watched a couple games. I'll give my breakdowns here in a second. But the thing I want to focus on is the second hashtag in Kade Bell's bio, which is, quote, play fast, score faster. And
I love it. I can't wait that single hashtag is going to get me through the entire offseason of Pitt football.
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to bring up the hashtag. The hashtag, when I saw that, I was like, all right, let's go. Like,
my first two thoughts were, let's go. And how did Narduzzi bring himself to hire this guy?
I feel like he would have, this is like Narduzzi. He's a changed man. Someone killed Narduzzi and replaced him with a clone. We're dealing with a case of the body snatchers here. So just kind of a couple stats to back up the play fast, score faster thing. This is from the official WCU Western Carolina football account. By the numbers in the SoCon, which is their conference of the FCS. WCU was first in total offense, first in scoring, first in rushing, first in passing efficiencies, first in first downs, first and third down efficiency, first in red zone efficiency, and he broke the WCU total yards and passing touchdown records. And this is all last year, by the way. He's been there for 2 years.
Is that good?
I think that's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good.
Also, here's one more stat. In 52 games as an OC, Bell's teams have produced more than 500 yards 31 times, good for a 60% clip. Do you want to guess how many times that Frank Signetti did that in 25 tries? It's not zero. I'll tell you it's not zero.
I was going to say zero, so
that's what I thought too.
So the only other correct answer is 1.
You'd be right. You know what game it is for Double Jeopardy.
Dude,
it's crazy that the football season just ended. And
is it Wofford?
No, Wofford was over 450, not 500.
It's got to be. Was it all right? Here, let's narrow it down a little bit here. Was it this past season or prior?
It was 2022.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say if it wasn't Wofford, it had to be 2022, right? All right. So who'd we play after Tennessee?
Western Michigan and Rhode Island.
Rhode Island. Had to be Rhode Island.
Nope. Again, over 450, but not over 500.
Damn.
Do you want the answer?
Yeah.
Miami week 12, and they just got by.
That's
like
right.
502 or something. By the way, those two FCS teams were the only other times that a Frank Signetti offense was over 450 yards. That's the only other time they've even eclipsed that number. And also it happened 7 times in 2021, just as sort of frame of reference. Now, how this offense works is it uses a lot of RPO, but I wouldn't call it like an RPO, college offense when you're like slandering an offense.
It's not
It's
not the slow mesh like Wake.
No, but I think he has a couple plays. There were some slow mesh plays that I saw, but it's not like a full slow mesh offense.
Okay.
He definitely took some inspiration from Clausen down the road, but what he does well, from what I've seen, is he understands how to free up space for playmakers. Right, like one of the first plays I saw was like the second play of one of the WCU games. He sends guys screaming downfield. He's got three or four players past 10 yards within 3 seconds, leaving the running back who leaks out wide open. And because those other players are trailing, the guys screaming downfield, the running back's able to pick up another extra 10 yards on that catch and get a first down.
Wait, do we have a good running back that can catch passes out of the backfield?
I think so. Geez, you're really. I'm struggling to find his name. I haven't seen him in so long.
Hodney Schmamond, something like that.
Some sort of meat-based name.
Yeah, that would have been. I mean, some of that would have been great to see. I think transfer portal might hurt us a little bit, but we've still got a lot of these playmakers that just didn't get the ball enough last year. We'll at least it sounds like from what you're telling me, Zach, we'll at least see the ball in our best players' hands more than we did with Cignetti.
For sure. I mean, like I said before, he was first in the SoCon in rushing, and that rushing attack really does help build on that RPO action, on those play action passes that they like to throw. A lot of sort of 10-yard ins and skinny posts. Like, did this one play was an RPO. They all bit on the run. And then, skinny post goes for 15 yards. As far as the transfer portal goes, honestly, at this point, looking at the roster, you've got Kenny Johnson coming back. Obviously, Rodney's coming back. Gavin's coming back. You should have a stable of wide receivers behind it with Kanate, the freshman, Dejon Reynolds. Ryan Jacoby's back at guard, shoring up the interior of that offensive line, coming back off of injury. 2 tackles are back. I mean, the biggest question here on offense now is, who does Bell want to play quarterback? And that's going to be the conversation all offseason. It depends on the players' deep balls, because not only do they like to throw a lot of play action quick hitters, which are really good. That's what beats on our Jersey defense. It's nice to be on the attacking side of that for once. But Bell loves chucking the ball deep. Chucks it deep to his speed wide receivers. He frees up tight ends over the middle of the field. I hope you're listening, Gavin. It really all depends on the deep ball, whether that's from a transfer quarterback or, honestly, I think Yarnell has the better deep ball out of anyone on the roster right now. Veyer really struggled with that. That's the question as far as the offense goes.
Just chuck it deep? You're literally making my skin crawl right now. Shout out James Franklin. I love that we hired the anti-James Franklin. Yeah, no, I mean, I think of the returning QBs, Yarnell's obviously got the upper hand going into the offseason, it feels. But, it definitely feels like they're going to bring in some competition. It's not going to be Tyler Van Dyke. Right before we started recording, he committed to Wisconsin. So that is good news on our front. Riley Leonard today also Notre Dame. So
does that make Notre Dame a contender? Because I feel like they have a good, air quotes for those listening, good transfer QB every year, and they still can't get it done.
Well, if I told you that basically every wide receiver from Notre Dame transferred out because they fired their wide receivers coach, would you think the same thing?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I mean, it's still, like I said, it's like a Band-Aid. They can't recruit. What I'm saying is Notre Dame can't recruit quarterbacks. They go get these transfers, and they're kind of like Pitt in the sense that it doesn't. Sure, Sam Hartman's a good name, but he didn't. I mean, did he take them any farther than they would have went with?
Minchie.
Yeah,
Which you got to think he's been passed over twice for transfer QB. He's got to be regretting that decision. But I don't know. Maybe I just don't judge. I don't trust Frank Snetti's quarterback evaluations now that he's dead and gone.
very true. Very true.
Last thing on the offense, just the one thing I noticed is that he does use he uses other players to clear out space for like the number one target. There was one play, it was just a disgusting red zone play. Running back runs just like a wheel route, and he sends the two guys on that side on hard in-breaking routes. Running back walks in for a touchdown. And then he also likes to break his own tendencies. They were down by 1 point to Chattanooga late this season. He calls 3 quick passes just at the sticks in breaking. Then, to set up a game-winning field goal, he breaks that tendency, and instead of sending the guy who's supposed to break in, at the sticks, he sends him deep. 3 players are caught off guard. He's wide open. He goes 40 yards down the field, and they kick a 20-yard field goal to win the game. It's really nice to see an offense with some creativity and isn't just inside run. Yeah, man, I am super excited for this offense. If you want to see what this offense looks like when it's clicking, there's a YouTube highlight up. It's the game against ETSU from this season. For some reason, the 52-50 win against Chattanooga is not on YouTube for whatever reason. But yeah, go check it out. And also, if you want to see the plays I just talked about, I wrote this up on my Substack. I'm real angry. Go subscribe. It's free. And you'll actually get to see the plays I'm talking about because podcasting is a hard medium to show what you're talking about. So you're listening to me on a pair of headphones.
But yeah, I mean, I'm very happy that Narduzzi seemed to kind of go with a 180 pick here.
He's learning.
Dude, it kind of makes me think back to the news when Heather Lyke was basically like, yeah, I'm going to work with Pat Narduzzi to get Pitt back to ACC championship play. Like, she was in his ear like, all right, you can stick around, but the next offense coordinator you hire has to actually score points. I don't know.
Thank you,
That's just kind of where
Heather Lyke.
Thank you, Heather Lyke.
Thank you, Heather. Hoops real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull up the scores here. Totally butchered that spelling. Week in review, Pitt beats West Virginia on their court at the Bob Huggins Blackout Memorial game, 80-63. And they beat Canisius on the home court, 82-71 before the aforementioned bye week. I don't think there's really a ton to talk about with Canisius. We were down early and then won the game. You just don't lose the bye games. I think that's all you can ask for. And then let's talk about Blake Hinson, shall we?
Yeah, I was going to say Blake Hinson is the story of the week, no doubt. Just went absolutely nuclear.
Yeah. I believe he won ACC Player of the Week, correct?
He did.
Correct.
Along with, I believe, Bub Carrington.
ACC Freshman of the Week.
Freshman of the Week. So
Third time.
His third.
Yeah, so these were both Blake Hinson games. I think West Virginia, he was a bit more nuclear. He was like Chernobyl. Canisius was more like 3 Mile Island, but he still had an incredible game, very deserving of that Player of the Week. If you look at his stats from the game, dude just keeps getting better.
Yeah, and that's carrying off of the momentum from the week before. He's really just caught his stride. I mean, West Virginia, he hits 9 threes, school record, 9 for 15, I think, which is insane.
It wasn't like he took 25, like 25. It was an efficient shooting night too.
Yeah, and they were deep. Like
the one to break the record was a mile away.
And doing it in Morgantown,
right on the country roads, fucking logo.
Loved it.
Speaking of that Rookie of the Week achievement for Bob Carrington, he is now tied for third behind Chris Taft and Sean Miller for Rookie of the Week selections, whether that be Big East or ACC. He's tied with, among others, DeJuan Blair.
That's a good list of names you want to be with, man.
And if right now the record is 6, there is a possibility where he clears that mark pretty fucking soon.
Yeah.
It's mid-December. We got some ball left to play, boys. He's got an opportunity to have a really special season. Really excited. I mean, as you mentioned before, down against Canisius, those are the games you just simply cannot afford to have a loss like that. We have, I think, 2 left before we get into ACC play. So, yeah, just hope we, play well. Those games just get some momentum going. But he's got a week left against, some lower end opponents to maybe sneak in a 4th before we even get into ACC play.
Also, want to let the record show, Kent and I were watching this game out at the bar. Both of us had a very significant amount of money for us on the game here. So if you want a pessimistic view of the game, come talk to us because we wanted them to cover. We obviously did not. So we can tell you everything that went wrong with the game. But at the end of the day, neutral perspective, a win is a win. So we will definitely take some of those and keep working some of those kinks out.
Now, in terms of playing time, I didn't watch this one. I was actually busy on Sunday or Saturday. Sorry. William Jeffries, 22 minutes in this game.
Yeah, that was if you wanted a takeaway, it's that he looked really, really well, and I think we need to get him a ton more minutes. I know it's tough with the 4. We have both the twins. You can't really put Jeffress at a true 5, but find a way to get him on the floor because he plays great defense, has a great presence on the boards, getting rebounds, and he was making threes. He was making threes the other night.
He hit a couple threes in this game,
which was not really his thing, but he brought that out, and if he can keep doing that, he's a ball player.
Now, in terms of the 5, because you brought it up, I saw this one going around. Do you think that Guillermo should be getting more minutes at the 5 going forward? He had a pretty good offensive performance with 15 points against West Virginia, only 7 against Canisius. But do you think it's time to start experimenting with Guillermo in the starting lineup instead of Fede?
Yeah, I mean, dude, Fede has just been so bad recently. I mean, I love Federico. We all know what he's capable of. I mean, right now you have – when you're playing teams like this, it's not as big of a deal. But, I mean, Guillermo's just been out playing him recently. So it's like at some point he's earned it. He's earned his playing time over Federico. I hope Federico figures it out. I'm not giving up on Federico by any means at all. But he's just simply just not playing well right now, and Guillermo has been playing decently well. So yeah, I think that's a valid conversation at this point.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing you consider there too, with maybe Guillermo at the 5 is getting Jeffress more minutes. You can stretch the floor and go 5 out. That's never really a threat with Federico. So I know we've talked a lot about like the scouting report that kind of people have started to key in on Bob Carrington. We've done a lot of the same stuff. If you can kind of switch and go, okay, here's our 5 out set. Here's our 5 out starting lineup. Maybe they have a better big man that we want a more defensive presence on. That's the game that Fede comes in and starts. Like just the ability to do that would be huge. So that's my take.
Not only to stretch the floor, too, you talked about getting Jeffries more minutes. If you're moving Guillermo to a full-time 5, that frees up minutes for Jeffries at the 4. And then
And I think
if there's a
Jeffries can guard a 5. Like I know he's not as tall as Fetty, but he is significantly wider.
And he just
and
plays so hard. Like he's not gonna back down from a challenge of a guy that's bigger than him. Like
he plays big. That's a thing that might not be a thing in the NBA, playing big, but in college you can get away with playing taller than your height. And I think Jeffries can do that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess my takeaway is that with games coming up against who was it? It was
I think we have South Carolina State next.
I think it is South Carolina State.
Yeah, South Carolina State is next, and then you've got what did you say there, Ken?
Fort Wayne is after South Carolina State,
and that's we need to not sleep on them. They've played some good teams tough, and if we go into that game sleepwalking, that just
put it out there.
Yeah, I obviously don't want that to happen, but hopefully Capel's telling them, hey, this isn't your typical cupcake game. Let's go out and play here.
Who has Purdue Fort Wayne played?
Let me get back to you on that. I was in a rabbit hole the other day.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but basically with Syracuse coming up to start ACC play at the end of the month, it just needs to be, if we're going to make this change, it's best to make it now rather than making it during ACC play or going into ACC play with this change without having any on-court experience with moving the ball around. But I don't know. It all depends on it if Capel's looking at making this change, right?
Yeah, and I wish we had another option where we had a center that weighed more.
It would be Conte if he didn't get hurt, you know?
Yeah. So in a perfect world, that's what we would have. But, we work with what we got. I'm still very excited about this team. But, yeah, we cannot – I'm hoping Canisius was like a wake-up call, being down at halftime to a team like that, snapping into it, winning that. Like, you simply cannot afford to sleep on any of those games. You got to come out firing and put them away earlier than we did with Canisius. We really, like I said, we were down at halftime. We didn't even let them hang around. Like, we were losing. You got to put teams like that away early. You can't give them any hope of winning a game like that.
All right, are you guys ready for the Fort Wayne deep dive?
Yeah,
let's go.
Have one loss thus far this season, given strength of schedule's not great, but they have wins over DePaul, and that's pretty much it. But that's like a 9-win team right there. So you play the schedule that's in front of you. I mean, let's not sleep on them.
Yeah, and one last thing, Kent, for your spin zone. We talked a lot about last week how it seemed that in their 2 losses to Missouri and Clemson, they didn't seem to have a lot of clutch in them. They got close late, but weren't able to finish it out. Against West Virginia, they put West Virginia away, didn't let them claw back in and maintain that lead. I think Canisius obviously it happened later than we wanted to, but I think at least in that West Virginia game, that might have been a learn to put away a team game.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's definitely good, like we were talking about with Kayla, like it's good to face some adversity and learn from it, rather than just walk over all these teams, before we get into true ACC play. So yeah, I mean, it's still early. You're learning, but when you already have those losses against Missouri and against Clemson and some, early losses on the resume for March, it would be nice to also just put away teams early. So, but yeah.
So I don't have anything left on Pitt basketball, but I want to talk about this. Did you see that North Dakota State beat a team 108-14?
I did. I saw the enrollment at the school that scored 15 was like 65 or something.
Yeah.
Which is
insane. So it's got to be all athletes. Also, it was I'm learning now this was the wear an ugly sweater game for North Dakota State. So Pitt needs to do that. I think that needs to happen.
Dude, they could probably, if they design a sweater ugly enough, maybe a Dino Cat Christmas sweater, that would be tough as hell.
Brooklyn Zoo, if you're listening, I know you're an avid liker of the pod tweets.
They've definitely done Christmas sweater games before where it's like a sponsored T-shirt or whatever, but an actual ugly Christmas sweater game would be very cool. You're right, Zach.
Make it a contest too.
Yeah.
You have
Winner gets free tuition.
You have 8 days.
Maybe we'll just have a contest and we will give the winner $1. This is not. You can't hold me to this. I don't plan on doing it.
Yes,
Sell out the
it has
piece for
to be-
Fort Wayne.
You get $1, but it has to be in DraftKings casino credit.
So we know Mason's financing this operation.
I'm not very liquid right now. I need a couple extra spins on the slot machine.
$10 to play on the Rocket.
Before we go too deep into getting in trouble for gambling advertising, anything else for the pod?
No, let's get out of here.
Hell yeah, another great episode. If you like the show, follow us on Twitter at Simple5Pod. Leave a review and 5 stars. It helps the podcast out. And we'll see you next time.
Hail to Pitt.
Beat the South Carolina State Bulldogs.
Fuck them dogs.
Had to look up their mascot quick.